Hello and a warm welcome from the International Students and Programs Office. Thanks so much for joining us today for our pre-arrival webinar, Graduate Student Funding and Finances. This pre-arrival webinar series is a collaboration between our office, the International Students and Programs Office, as well as Graduate Division, and we also invite different campus partners to come and speak to relevant topics to the international graduate student experience at UC San Diego. My name is Grace Fuller. I serve as the Manager of International Student Experience and Engagement, the International Students and Programs Office, commonly referred to as ISPO, and I'll hand it over to my colleagues to introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Swid, and I'm one of the International Student Advisors at ISPO.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shauna Slaviota, and I work in the Graduate Division.
My name is Mark Adams. I'm the supervisor for the Student Account Services Office, where you will find all your billing needs.
And my name is Andrew Weidler. I also work at Student Financial Solutions and are our Special Projects Manager.
Wonderful. So thank you so much to my colleagues for being here. They have come together to hopefully answer as many questions as we can as you have relating to graduate student funding and finances. But a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. So you are in listen-only mode, which means you can hear us, but unfortunately we can't hear you. So we encourage you to submit all your questions via the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom menu bar. If for some reason we don't get to your question today, we also encourage you to reach out to us via icontact.ucsd.edu. And finally, we are recording, so you will be able to view this webinar as well as other pre-arrival webinars we've done at iwebinars.ucsd.edu. And again, this is just a highlight of what that Q&A feature will look like on your control panel. We have disabled the chat, so that will be the primary way that you will facilitate those questions. And we encourage you to feel free to submit questions at any point during today's webinar. So if we go over a slide and maybe you have a follow-up question, we'd love for you to submit that question. However, I do want to point out that we will dedicate the end of today's session to answering those live question and answers. So again, we might not get to your question right in the middle of the presentation, but we'll do our best to get to it at the end of the presentation. All right, so a little bit about our agenda for today. So we'll start off with a few reminders, both from the International Students and Programs Office, as well as Graduate Division. Then we'll transition to talk about graduate student financial support. We'll also have some highlights and reminders from Student Financial Solutions. And then we'll end with important deadlines and reminders. And like I said, we'll dedicate a good chunk of today's webinar to open question and answer. And with that, I'll hand it over to my colleague, Lisa, to go over some first steps checklist for ISPO.
Thank you, Grace. So just a very quick reminder that you are able to request your immigration documents now if you've already accepted your offer of admission. We began accepting our applications for immigration documents on March 1st. So we have been very busy processing I-20s and DS-2019s for students who are planning to enter the United States this fall quarter. So please visit our website at inewstudent.ucsd.edu to get information about how to request your documents and prepare for arrival. We hope that you'll be able to enter the United States and begin your program of study in person, but we are aware that there are difficulties in various regions around the world with securing a visa appointment or making travel arrangements. So we encourage you to apply early for your documents to avoid any delay. Our processing time is 15 business days, and we are not able to expedite requests. So please make sure that you submit a complete application as early as possible and take into account the 3 weeks of processing time. And with that, I'll hand it over to Shauna for some reminders from grad admissions.
Thank you, Lisa. So yes, this is a reminder to log into your application account at gradapply.ucsd.edu to view your application portal. And in a moment, we will show a screenshot of what this page looks like. Be sure to fill out the Statement of Legal Residence form as an incoming student. Most students are admitted provisionally. This should not impact your ability to get immigration documents to travel to the US, but it does mean you will have to provide official documentation to our office. And you can find a list of these documents in your portal under the pending admissions documents section. And if you have any questions about this, please contact grad admissions and our staff will be able to assist you. So this is what the application portal looks like, and you can see which forms need to be completed towards the left under the forms section. And then right below that is where you will find the pending admissions documents section. And so this would show any degree conferrals or proof of degree that would need to be submitted to our office. I would also like to call your attention to the links in the bottom right corner of the page, those that are highlighted. And so this is where you will find information on all the necessary steps to prepare for starting your graduate program. And this is also where you will find information on orientation activities for new grad students as those are finalized. So I will also put a direct link in the chat to the admitted students section of our website. And that will also take you directly to it. But again, the information is in your portal listed right here, and that's how you can find all the steps necessary. And sorry, it's just taking me an extra second to get the link up because I didn't have it available. Okay, here we go. And at this time, we will start discussing graduate student financial support. And so I would just like to also sort of share with you all that in my role, I don't work with financial support daily, but I am happy to be presenting this information to you all. And part of the presentation will show you how to get more information. So if you need to contact your academic home department or to contact our office, the information is all included in the slides. So this presentation will cover, like I mentioned, important campus contacts and resources that graduate students should be aware of. And additionally, we'll provide some general information about student roles and responsibilities as they relate to the different types of financial support you may receive while in graduate study at UC San Diego. So the graduate coordinator, some departments call this a graduate advisor. This is a staff person, a staff member in your academic home department that is your primary resource for financial support matters. So they will be able to answer most of your questions regarding merit-based financial support as well as academic employment. And then the staff members in graduate division are also available, but we do encourage you to visit your graduate coordinator or visit your department first. And oftentimes you can get your questions answered that way. The graduate division financial support unit is made up of the following staff members. Tiffany Swiderski is the director of graduate financial support. The graduate employment team assists with employment-related tuition and fee payment questions, as well as academic appointment policies and support eligibility. The graduate fellowship team can assist with fellowship stipend questions and fellowship tuition and fee payment questions. The third party and visiting graduate student coordinator assists with outside agency third-party billing, including setting up accounts, billing, and reconciliation questions. And they can also answer questions regarding the process and approval of visiting graduate student applications. The Graduate Fellowship Advisor can help with pre-award fellowship processing. And by working with this coordinator, students can get assistance submitting fellowship applications or help with the application process. The coordinator specializes in the NIH F31, which is the National Institutes of Health in the US, American Heart Predoctoral Fellowship, Fulbright U.S. Student Program, Fulbright Hayes, Chancellor's Interdisciplinary Collaboratories, and the Tobacco-Related Disease Research Program. And detailed information about graduate student support policies, employment opportunities, and more can be found on our website. The website was designed with current and continuing students in mind. It has a wealth of information. Be sure to check out the Student Life tab, which includes information on employment, career development, and events for UC San Diego graduate students. Students interested in scheduling appointments with a graduate career advisor, exploring internship opportunities, and signing up for career development workshops should visit Handshake. Handshake is the online job posting system of the UC San Diego Career Center. Students interested in fellowship opportunities can also make use of UCLA's GRAPES website. This is an online database with searchable filters for fellowships available to graduate students. And a final resource is Pivot, which is a fellowship database accessible while connected to the UC San Diego wireless network. The department from which the student will earn their degree is called the Academic Home Department. And the home department for each student will be able to determine the student's eligibility for financial support. It gives approval for other departments to hire their students, and they also submit fee payment requests on behalf of eligible students. Students also have responsibilities in order to become eligible and maintain eligibility for financial support. Students must enroll full-time by the published deadlines. They have to pay fees by the deadlines, submit requested documents through Glacier, submit their application for a Social Security number or ITIN when instructed to, obtain approval from their home department, sign up for direct deposit, maintain employment authorization, complete tax forms as appropriate, and use the online student portal as needed. Now we will focus on the funding mechanism of fellowships. When considering which fellowships to apply for, it is important to know that there are two kinds of fellowships. The first type is intramural, and this means that money is coming from UC San Diego. The funds are from a source that's internal to UCSD. Some of you may already have fellowships from your respective departments. That money is considered intramural funding. The second type is extramural. This means that the money is coming from an entity outside of the university. These external funds can come from a corporation like Google, government like the National Institutes of Health, or a nonprofit like the American Heart Association. Many intramural fellowships do not have the citizenship requirement that many federal extramural fellowships have. So to find out more information about the intramural fellowships, please talk to your department coordinator. And your department coordinator may also have information about discipline-specific opportunities that are available to you in your program of study. Once you know the difference between intramural and extramural funding, the first thing you should do is narrow down your search. Ask yourself, what exactly do I need money for? Do I need money for training? Do I need money for research abroad? Also consider where you are in the degree track. So for those of you on this call, you're all new graduate students, you're incoming students. And so this plays into applying for awards. So asking yourself these questions, narrowing down your search will help generate keywords for you to search for opportunities. So make sure to indicate master's level or pre-doctoral stage if you are going for a doctorate degree. Match your purpose to the purpose of the opportunity being presented. Make sure to identify the kind of award you are looking at. These categories include travel, training, research, and general scholarships. Now that you know what to look for when searching for fellowships, let's consider some tips for when you begin applying. Read the whole program announcement. Create an outline of what the purpose of the opportunity is, eligibility requirements, application components, the award package, and what your obligations will be as a fellow of that fellowship. Be hyper aware of the eligibility requirements so that you know with 100% certainty that you can apply for that opportunity. If you have a question about eligibility, ask the funding entity. Itemize the application materials and see how many people need to be involved in your application. Do you need letters of recommendation? If so, let your recommenders know as soon as possible. It's also good to supply your recommenders with your proposal and copy of the opportunity announcement so they can write tailored recommendations. Some obligations may require reporting, a letter to the donor, maintaining a certain academic status, etc. Be aware of what will be expected of you. Be aware of what will be awarded if you receive the fellowship. Will the agency pay for your tuition and fees, or maybe only 60% of your tuition and fees? Know the award package. Be on the lookout for who can submit the application. Some applications require institutional submission or a signature from a business official. Some of the buzz terms to watch out for are authorized organizational representative, business official, signing official, institutional submission, or any combinations of these words. If you do see these words, email gradadvisor@ucsd.edu as soon as possible to help you process your application. On this slide, you will find a list of fellowships that you may want to look into. You can find some of these opportunities on the Graduate Division website, like the Chancellor's Interdisciplinary Collaboratories and Friends of the International Center. Others you can find by searching the web. A special note about the Graduate Fellowship Initiative. This is something created by the Graduate Division. If you have a fellowship, you must have been awarded the fellowship first. That perhaps provides stipend, but not tuition and fees or vice versa. The Graduate Division may be able to supplement your existing funding source in order to provide a more holistic award. Check out the Graduate Division Fellowships page for more details. Also, don't forget to look at fellowship opportunities that your home country provides for students to study abroad. And now we'll transition to academic employment, which is another way to receive financial support. There are two broad categories of academic employment: research and instruction and instructional support. Graduate student researchers, also known as GSRs, perform research under the direction of a faculty member. The research may be in their home department or in another department. In this role, students may be appointed up to 49.99% during the academic months and up to 100% during the summer with approval from their home department. Students in these roles are paid monthly. Students may also be appointed as one of the following: associate teaching assistant or TA, reader or tutor. In these roles, students may be appointed up to 50% during the academic months and up to 100% during the summer with approval from their home department. Associates and teaching assistants are paid monthly, and readers and tutors may be paid monthly or biweekly. Students should always check with their home department first for employment opportunities. Additionally, opportunities are posted to the Job Opportunities Bulletin every year in early May. International graduate students should also review the requirements on the Graduate Division website. Depending on the type of financial support you are awarded, you may receive a fee remission or a fee payment as part of your support package. Fellowship fee payments may pay part or all of the tuition and fees charged to a student. The amount of these payments are determined by the home department. Fee remissions are benefits of employment in the graduate academic titles we have mentioned. The payment amounts are predetermined and are set by campus policy. As a graduate student researcher who is employed at 25% time or more for a full quarter and has an appointment that begins in the first week of the quarter and is within campus support time limits, is eligible to have all mandatory tuition and fees paid as a perk of employment. Students employed as associates, TAs, readers, and tutors are considered academic student employees, also known as ASEs. An ASE who is employed at 25% time or more for a full quarter is eligible for the ASE partial fee remission. This fee remission covers tuition, student services, health insurance, and $100 towards other campus fees, but it does not cover the non-resident tuition and fee charge. So this is just some information, and I know my colleagues from Student Financial Solutions will also be talking a little bit later, but just I think what I'd like people to know from this slide is that if there's a hold that's placed on your student account, then that would prevent a student from receiving a stipend check or a tuition and fee payment from their financial support. So please know this in advance and just be aware of any debts or any payments or holds that might be on your student account. And I think at this time, we'll pass it over to my colleagues at Student Financial Solutions.
Good morning. Once again, my name is Mark Adams. I am the supervisor for the Student Account Services Unit of the Student Financial Solutions Office. We are the primary billing unit for the campus. So any of your billing needs, you'll be coming through our office for, to determine any questions you may have. All right, so why most of you are here are really for admissions reasons, or you're looking for support in financially, either be it through fellowships or what tuition, teaching assistant jobs might be available, that kind of thing is why you're the primary reason why most of you are here. A lot of that will cover a great amount of your fees in a lot of situations, but not all of you will have all of your fees paid, and some of you may need to have all of you have to pay out of pocket for all of your fees, and that's where we come in. As we're the billing office. We're here to help you with whatever needs you have with your making sure that you can meet your financial responsibilities. The fee remission account application. So once the grad department actually does set you up for fee remissions of any kind, be it through teaching assistants or a fellowship of some kind, stipend support, your student account is where you're going to see those payments come in and apply to your fees. So on our, I'll ask Andrew to put the, I think we have the link on the next slide, but we'll get there in just a second. I have the link to your actual Triton Pay account page, which has your account summary and all that information on there. We'll get to that in just a moment. Stipends. So for those of you who have stipends, the majority of you being international will probably be paid through payroll. So you'll get it direct deposited to you from the payroll office directly. Some stipends are paid through the student account. So you'll actually get it. It'll appear on your student account first, and then it'll refund out to you the next day as a refund payment to you. I did want to touch on the holds. what was mentioned before was accurate about holds. However, that has changed very recently, like within the last week. We have updated our hold process. We are no longer holding stipends. We no longer hold assistance of any kind. So all of those will not be impacted by the billing hold any longer. All the billing hold is going to do, which is key, is if you have past due fees on your account, it will hold your ability to register for future quarters until that has been resolved. So that will be the impact that the hold will have on you. So it's still important to make sure you're taking care of whatever the hold reason is causing. You're welcome, Shanna. So that has been a problem in the past. Moving forward, we should not see that problem with the holds directly. You should still be getting your stipends without any issue. Your tuition assistance will still pay out, and your NETA fellowships you're getting will all pay out without any issues. For those of you who do have to pay, we do have international payment options. We use Flywire and we use Western Union. Both of those are available through that same Triton Pay webpage. However, we don't offer a direct wire payment as viable for what the university uses. In an emergency situation, we can use that. We do not recommend it. It's got logistic problems with identifying who you are. It can take, we've seen it take up to 4 weeks sometimes to process a wire payment. We highly recommend, if you need to use a wire service, to use Western Union or to use Flywire. Okay, if you have questions, here's our website. The sfs.ucsd.edu will link you to any of the other billing services you need to get to. If you want to get to the Triton Pay page, that'll be on your how to pay your bill through the website. If you need to get to, you can always get to Triton Link directly by just going to tritonlink.ucsd.edu, and it has a wealth of information in there from all the departments on campus. We have a physical location in the Student Services Center building. We're currently not open due to COVID, but we should be opening at least for appointments, if nothing else, in September. So we do offer the phone line. We staff the phone line every day. So if you do need to call, we can call that. But our primary source of contact with you is the support portal, which all students have access to, and it's just support.ucsd.edu/students, and it's takes you to what our ServiceNow is our online software that we use. Creates a case for you, and you'll be able to track that case all the way through to conclusion. We have our Instagram account. If you want to have a little fun with us, our resource page is listed there at the bottom. Has a lot of good resources that you can not necessarily billing. It's got all kinds of resources on there. So it's a great place to go visit to really kind of familiarize yourself with. And I think that's our last slide. So I appreciate your time. If you have any questions about billing, we'll be happy to answer them towards the end of the presentation. And I'll start answering questions here on the slides as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark. All right, so we have a few last reminders that we want to highlight. So one is there is an opportunity to start getting involved as an incoming international graduate student. So I want to highlight our Grad Pals program. So Grad Pals matches incoming graduate students such as yourself with current graduate students at UC San Diego, most commonly within your same department. So this program aims to help new students settle in by giving them opportunities to ask non-academic related questions, provide them with support during the first few weeks, and ease their transition to graduate life at UC San Diego. I would highly encourage folks to sign up for this program. We have a lot of students who really enjoy their participation in this program. So to learn more about it, you can head to tinyurl.com/gradpals21. Okay, so here are a few of our upcoming pre-arrival webinars. So actually today at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we will have a webinar on SEVIS transfers. So if you are in the US and you need to transfer your SEVIS record from another US institution, we highly encourage you to attend. Again, that will be in just 2 hours, I believe. On May 12th, we'll highlight a webinar on campus safety. May 14th, we'll talk about student life and getting involved. And on May 20th, we'll have our partners from Student Financial Solutions again to highlight a webinar on student accounts and finances. iwebinars.ucsd.edu is kind of your one-stop shop. So by heading there and going to webinars for newly admitted students, you can both review all of the previous webinars that we've done, as well as sign up for all the webinars coming up in the future. So it's a great resource for many of our students. Here are some important deadlines and reminders. So like Lisa mentioned, you can begin requesting your visa documents now in the iPortal. We also encourage students, if you're planning on physically arriving to the US, that you start looking at some of your housing options. We did have a webinar focusing on housing options for international graduate students, and that webinar is posted, that webinar recording is posted on iWebinars, and that's a great resource that I highly recommend students to check out. Like I said, we'll have a few of these upcoming webinars, and then we are so excited to welcome students in September at our new International Student Orientation. Another feature that I want to highlight for our students is our new Ask Triton chatbot feature. So like many of our websites, I know the graduate division websites and Student Financial Solution, the ISPO website is filled with a lot of really relevant and important information for our students. However, I also know that because it has so much information, sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating to navigate. So because of that, we instituted our Ask Triton chatbot feature. And so you can go ahead and type in some keywords or your question, and that will often give you some really good information to maybe answer some of those initial questions. So we highly recommend students to utilize that feature. All right, and now is the time where we will dedicate to answering your questions via a live Q&A feature. So I know we already have some really good questions that have come through the chat. So I'll go ahead and we'll start with this first question, Shauna, and it looks like it's for you. So the question reads, is it possible to co-write a grant proposal with your advisor for your project?
Yes, so it's definitely possible. And in fact, our faculty members are often applying for grants to fund research projects that they have going on or to investigate a particular topic. And the sort of caveat here is, of course, every award is a little different in terms of how much they will cover or exactly what they will cover. And so when the faculty member is applying for, say, a research grant, they will often have to say, I intend to pay for the support of like 2 research assistants or something like that at the time, and they'll have to include an amount that they anticipate that will cost. So these are all just details that, so the short answer is yes, but I was just trying to provide a little bit more insight into the process and to just kind of know what that would look like. But I would highly encourage you to talk to your advisor about funding opportunities. It's definitely a great, it looks good for, honestly, for a faculty member and for a lab to have these awards. And most faculty members are pretty open to applying for them.
Wonderful, thanks so much. All right, so our next question reads, can I bring my required documents to the United States and hand them in myself, but not via mailing?
Yes. So there was another question that was a little bit similar, Grace, and so I don't know if I marked that one as also, but your university, if you are wanting to submit, I should say, if you want to submit pending documents through an electronic means, your university really needs to be set up in order to send those to us securely. And so there was a student who said their university doesn't use secure methods such as Parchment, which is one of the companies that are out there that facilitate this process. If there is a way, if we have the system set up so that your university can send it to us securely in electronic fashion, that's great. But not all universities are set up to do that. And so if you are at an institution that doesn't use Parchment or something like this, then your other options are to mail your documentation to us. We prefer that you mail it over the summer, or bring your documentation to our office in person when you arrive. Both of those are options. In general, we say the earlier the better, but certainly you can come in person to lift the provisional admission status.
All right, Shauna, it looks like this next question is for you as well. So is there a document or a resource where one can access the stipend rates for the upcoming academic year?
Yes, so stipend in the form of a fellowship, I do not actually know of a website that lists stipend amounts by department, because there is some variation between departments. So know that there is a little variation. And unfortunately, I do not know of a website on the fellowship side. However, the reason I wanted to talk about this is employment rates are publicly available. And so I'm going to put a link in the chat to the graduate division website. And this includes the employment rates that are current for any student who's working as a teaching assistant, a tutor, or reader. It also has the rates for research, for graduate student researcher positions. There is some variation for the researcher positions as well. So know that going ahead. But you have all of the amounts here, and it would simply be a question for your department of what step they're using to pay their GSRs or graduate student researchers. So unfortunately, I don't have the link for fellowships. However, I do have the link for employment, and this would probably give you an idea of what a fellowship might be. So it's not they're not completely equal. It's not a one-to-one, but if you are just wondering, like, I just want an estimated figure of about how much it might be, by looking at the employment, that's going to give you sort of an estimate of what you might be looking at for a fellowship. I would also look at, yeah, I'll just leave it there.
I'm also, excuse me, I am seeing some questions in the Q&A feature regarding the Grad Pals program. So yay, I'm excited that you're excited. Excites me. So yes, the Grad Pal program is very similar to a peer mentorship program. So as much as possible, we try to match you with a graduate student who's currently in your same department. And that we find is really useful to be able to ask a lot of questions, to kind of start to already build your network and your community at UC San Diego. And I also went ahead, I know a few of you were asking, and so I put the sign up link in the chat. So feel free to go ahead and fill that out. We're excited to start to welcome you and have you engage with our Triton community. All right, Shauna, I see another question here that's asking if you can speak to a little bit more about what is advancement to candidacy.
Oh, right. So thank you, Grace. I don't think I saw that one. So advancement to candidacy is, it's a stage in your graduate career where the department is basically saying that you're approaching graduation. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but there's certain things that you have to have completed, like a certain amount of requirements that you have to complete for your degree. And at that time, you're considered a candidate for the degree. So for a master's program, it's oftentimes a certain number of courses. So maybe your program is a 2-year master's program and you have to take 12 classes. That's a part of it. Once you've completed 9 of those courses and you're in your final quarter, you submit paperwork to say that you are now a candidate for the degree, that you've reached that stage in your career. You have some requirements left, but it's only a little, or not a little, but it's smaller than when you started. And you're ready to be a candidate for the degree, and you complete those requirements, you get your degree. For a PhD program, you have to do an oral exam with your PhD committee, and you share with them your research results up until that point. And so students often do the candidacy exam in probably year 3, year 4, maybe year 5 of your program, depending on the normative time to degree for your program. And you present your research topic and the research you've conducted so far to your committee, and your committee says that you're doing well and you're making progress towards your degree. And then at that point, you're considered a candidate for the degree. So it's a stage along the way, and what you have to do to meet the candidacy requirements would look a little bit different will look different depending on the program that you're in. It's kind of another way of saying like an advanced graduate student or a senior graduate student. So there are awards that are maybe meant to only be used in your last 1 to 2 years of degree. And so they would require you to have completed this requirement to apply.
Thanks, Shauna. So as Mark highlighted, we are getting a number of questions regarding remote classes for the fall. And Mark is correct that overall the campus plans are to offer in-person instruction. But Lisa, I'm wondering if you can speak a little bit to international students who are not able to physically arrive or get a visa appointment, and how the campus is mindful of them.
Yeah. So the campus right now does have the intention to return to mainly in person for the fall quarter, but we are aware that there are a lot of students who are having difficulties securing a visa appointment or are impacted by travel restrictions. So it's really, really important that you connect with your department and explain to them what your situation is. Because in July, faculty members can change their course modality. So if it's listed as in-person right now and you communicate to your department that you're not able to enter for fall, it's just important to communicate that you would like to have remote instruction. That way they are informed and can make a decision in July to possibly adjust their course modality. So the best advice that we can give is to communicate directly with your department and the faculty members.
Great, thank you so much, Lisa. Shauna, we're seeing a few questions regarding students who are eager to possibly start working or applying for different opportunities, such as an ASC or a TA position for their very first quarter at UC San Diego. And I'm wondering if you can speak, is it possible for students to apply for these positions for their first quarter?
So it is possible. And I believe I would also encourage anyone who's on this webinar. Grace, is the last webinar that we did with Martha Stacklin and Erilyn available? Great. Okay, so if you are, I believe this is a question that we did touch upon in that session. If you haven't yet watched it, I would definitely encourage you to watch it. We went into more detailed information about the TA position specifically. However, the short answer is yes, you can serve as a TA. You can apply for a TA position in your first quarter. However, you need to have satisfied the English language proficiency requirement. So as an international student, you do have to meet a certain English language proficiency level. And so as a first year or as a new student, you can meet that requirement using a TOEFL score. But if your TOEFL score isn't quite there, you would have to work with Martha Stacklin's team on campus, and that could postpone your plans to serve as a TA. So just know that going in, but it's certainly possible. And yeah, it also depends on your program. Certain programs like chemistry or math, they have a need for a lot of TAs because there's a lot of undergraduate classes that are being offered in these fields. And so they will actually require students to TA right from the beginning. So you also could be in that situation where it's actually a requirement. And if you're not, then you would have to apply for a position like other students.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, let's see. So I'm scrolling through and I just want to highlight that some of the questions that we're seeing in the chat we've had webinars dedicated to these topics. And so, for example, there's a question in the chat asking about a vaccination requirement to join in-person classes for this fall. In that case, I would really encourage you to check out our pre-arrival webinar with Student Health Services as they speak to that. It's a developing situation, but the latest that we got from our colleagues in Student Health Services is that it's possible that there will be a vaccination requirement. Right now, they're looking to vaccinations approved by the World Health Organization. But again, for the latest up-to-date information, we encourage you to reach out to Student Health Services as well as check out that pre-arrival webinar dedicated to that topic. Additionally, I see a question about who to speak to regarding English language proficiency requirements, especially having completed an undergraduate degree in the United States. And again, we encourage you to check out that pre-arrival webinar dedicated to teaching assistantships and English language requirements. That's how you can get in touch with some of our colleagues in the Teaching and Learning Commons, specifically Martha Stacklin, as Shauna just mentioned. So we definitely encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to check out some of our previous pre-arrival webinars. All those recordings should be up on the website, and that's a great wealth of information. But I'd also love to turn it over to my colleagues, Shauna, Mark, Andrew. If you're seeing any common questions come through our Q&A that you'd like to speak to a little bit.
I actually have not had much directed towards the billing office itself. However, if you ever should have any billing questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you didn't catch that slide, I can put I'll have Andrew post it. Can we post in the questions and answers? Where can we post it for him? We can repost. Oh, you can always look at that, review the recording again. We've got all that information there. Please reach out to us anytime. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you've got.
Mark, do you happen to know what the fee payment deadline is for fall? Because I think there might have been someone asking when they have to pay their tuition.
Fall quarter is going to be September 23, I think. I don't have my calendar up. There it is. It will be September 24th. It's off by a day. 24th September. You'll actually see your fees online about August 22nd. They'll be billed. The actual billing is the first business day of September, which this will be actually the first. It'll be the 1st of September. is where the billing statement will go out. And that's when you'll actually see them, but you can pay them early if you see them online already. But you'll actually get the billing statement on the 1st of September.
Shauna, we're seeing another question regarding how can students monitor available TA positions for their respective departments?
That is a great question. Let me think. So, there's a system. There's a system that's internal to UC San Diego that students use to apply for TA positions. And so once you get in there, you should be able to see them for the campus. So I'll have to try and find the link for that. So I can post it in the chat when I'm got it.
Mark, we have a question that's come through the Q&A asking, does Student Financial Solutions also handle billing for housing?
After a fashion, yes. Housing does use our billing statement to post their rent charges. If you're on a monthly through one of the housing apartment sections, they have the due date won't be the same as what the billing statement is, but the billing statement is where it will show. They usually have a due date of about the 5th of the month. They give you it's due the 1st, but they'll always give you about 5 leeway days before they'll assess any kind of late charges. But that won't be the actual billing statement due date. So you'll have two different due dates on there. But that is where it will show. It will show on the billing statement, the university billing statement.
All right, we've seen another question come to the Q&A feature asking if students can set up their Handshake account right away, or if they have to wait to a certain point to be able to set up that Handshake account.
Yes, so I don't know the answer to that question, unfortunately, because the Handshake system is maintained by our Career Center colleagues. I'm actually not sure on the details of that, unfortunately. But the Career Center would be the ones to answer that question. And I can try and find their contact info.
Thanks so much, Shauna.
Grace, there's actually a question that I want to answer, if that's okay.
Please do.
So there's a question that asks how are taxes applied and paid on graduate student funding by the department, and how is it different from taxes applied to intramural fellowships, such as a Jacob School Fellowship. So my, as a graduate student, we use a system called Glacier to sort out the taxes that you will pay on your financial support. It was mentioned in my slides, but it's kind of a quick bullet point amongst other bullet points. But that is the name of the system so that you can become familiar with the name of it. And my understanding is the tax rate that you'll pay may vary depending on your home country. And so the Glacier system helps the university kind of keep track of these different rates. And so, I don't know all the details, but my understanding is that Glacier is what we use to kind of sort out the appropriate amount for taxes, and that it does differ from person to person. So that's what I know, but oh, thank you, Grace. So that's what I wanted to say about that is it's kind of an individual situation in terms of the amount of taxes that you pay, and that we help you figure that out to make sure the appropriate amount would be applied.
Thank you, Shauna. And we actually have another question from a student who is considering deferring to fall 2022 and would like to know if they do pursue that course of action, what steps should they take?
Great. So oftentimes we ask the student to go to their home department first to ask for the deferral or to ask for that ability to defer. And once the department says yes or no, then it comes to the graduate division, and the answer would be logged into your into the admissions system, your application portal. So if you are considering deferring, I will ask you to work with your home department on that.
Thank you. And so we have another question regarding TA-ships. So the question reads, if I am supported through a TA-ship, can I get stipends during the breaks or the summer?
So a TA is employment. You are paid for hours worked. So that being said, a break, for example, spring break, there are no classes. Although, however, you may be doing some grading from finals. So you could be paid for work that would be completed in that week if that's what the faculty member or the instructor needs, or if that's part of your contract is that you are doing grading of finals and you'll get paid through Tuesday or Wednesday of that week after finals. So then you would be paid for that work. Same in the summer. If you have a TA position supporting a summer class and you're completing those hours worked, you would get paid during the summer. But if you're getting paid from a TA position and you don't have a TA for the summer, then that support you would have to find an alternate means of support, because it's all tied to the dates of instruction and the hours worked in your TA position.
Great, thank you so much.
Grace, there's a question I wanted to answer. I know we're running out of time. There's a question about someone's first stipend if they're starting in fall. And it says it's important for them to know. I definitely want to touch upon this point. My first note is, please confirm with your department when you will get your first stipend. So the first question of when will I get it? Check with your department and make sure you have a date, because that's going to help you. The second thing is, there are positions, or there could be a stipend, or if you are working as a TA or a GSR, where you're not going to get that money right away. Maybe your first payment isn't until October 1st. If you're working as a TA, your first payment may not be until November 1st. And that just sort of depends on, because our classes start in late September and the time to set you up and everything. So it's really, really key that you know when that first payment is going to be. So definitely make sure with your department that you know when that is, because as this person says, you do have to budget. And as Mark said, the tuition and fee payment is going to be, in most cases, before that first. If you're getting support from UC San Diego. If you have support outside of UC San Diego, the dates could differ. But if you're getting paid from our institution, that's probably going to come after that fee payment deadline that Mark mentioned. So you want to have a plan in place to cover that first tuition payment if your support doesn't cover that. So definitely know that. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is, if you're serving as a TA, and I'll have to look up the details of this, but I believe there is a way to pay your tuition in payments if you need to. Mark, I don't know if you know, there's like a TA fee deferment. I may not be saying that right.
Or, we really kind of take them case by case when they're in that situation. We've got options that are available to us to protect the student from having impact on their ability. But we really need to know what the reason is behind it. So as long as there's valid reasoning moving forward, just reach out to us, and we will. Best way to do it is just to open a case through that student portal, which is support.ucsd.edu/students, and then just put in what your request is, and we'll take care of it from there.
Great.
And
Thank you, Mark.
we also have the installment plan. If you need to, if the last ditch, if you've gone through everything else that you can think of, we have the installment plan, which will make only the 1/3 of what you have to pay due immediately, and then the rest of it you can hold on till the TA ship comes in or your fellowship comes in, pays the whole thing, and then you'll get back what you paid in every case, unless it's not paying your whole amount, but that's the way to go too. So.
All right, as Shauna mentioned, we are at the end of our time today for this pre-arrival webinar. So please, we put a lot of relevant links in the chat. So I encourage you, if anyone applied directly to you, then please go ahead and open those. I'll give you a minute to make sure that you can access all of those and have that available. But like I said, all of our previous pre-arrival webinars are up on our iWebinars website. So that contains a wealth of information that I encourage you to check out. And additionally, this webinar will probably be posted within a 2-week turnaround. So we try to get these webinars up on our website because we know that you all refer to them. If you have any follow-up questions, I encourage you to reach out to our respective offices. You can see that iNewStudent is the best way to get a hold of the International Students and Programs Office, grad admissions at ucsd.edu for the graduate division. And I know that Student Financial Solutions has also provided their contact information in the chat. So thank you so much for joining us for today's pre-arrival webinar, and we look forward to seeing you at our next one. All right, have a great rest of your day, everyone.